Hey, good morning, class. Today we're going to be going over a few rainy day activities. Sometimes the weather can be pretty unpredictable and we might have to combine classes inside of a gym. So we're going to go over a few activities that we can work on with other classes. So I think I'm going to put together 2 or 3 activities for us to go through. And we're going to take a step away from our normal lesson. So like, for instance, we're working on our soccer lesson right now. So we're not going to really focus on soccer activities because we're going to be with other classes. So they're working on other things. So it wouldn't be fair for us to make them do soccer or take up part of the gym to work on soccer as well. So we're going to come up with activities for all of the classes to come together and work together. So let's get right into it. Okay, class, so the first activity that we're going to do is a game called Escape from Alcatraz. It's basically a huge obstacle course. You're divided into 2 teams. Myself and all the other teachers, we're going to divide you into groups, and we're going to split you up. I'm gonna write it out on a piece of paper, kind of show you the layout of the floor, but it's an obstacle course, and team building and problem solving are the main focuses of this obstacle course, because I'll go into it a little more detail in a moment, but there's going to be times where your teammates can help you get to the next station and move on. So basically, it's an obstacle course race. So you have one team on this side, you have one team on this side, and you guys are racing to get to the middle. I'll draw it out for you guys so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, but team building and problem solving is definitely the main focus of this. Okay, class, so this is our escape from Alcatraz. So we're gonna have teams on each side. As you can see, these circles here, right here, those are the students. They're on both sides. So one team's gonna work from this way, going around this way to get to the mainland, which, well, it looks like an island, but it's the mainland for you guys. So each side has the exact same obstacles. So let's go through the obstacles. So the classes, we're just gonna do this side. Just note that it replicates on this side. So here's the students. And then we have these lily pads on the ground. So each student is going to want to hop with 2 feet onto each lily pad. So you're going to hop from here, here, so on and so forth. These white blocks are the bases. So they're mats. So you hop onto the mat and you're safe there. You can stay there for as long as you want. So once you get to this mat, we have our floor scooters, the ones that you sit on. Remember, we've used those in the past. So you have the scooters here. There's only one. So only one student can go at a time. So you can try to push yourself all the way across to the other mat on your own, or you can wait for a teammate to come around and give you a little push, because if you get stranded here, you're gonna have to fall into the water and then you have to restart. And that goes for any obstacle. So if you're on the lily pads, you fall off, you have to go back to the beginning and restart. So even if you're at the very end and you fall off, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So you can take your chances. If you want to go all the way by yourself, you can do so. If you feel like you need a little help, you can ask a teammate that's already on the mat. They have to make it through to the mat. So once you get across here, you're going to be on this safe spot. And now we have our wooden 2x4s. And these stretch across. It's basically like a balance beam. So only one person is allowed on a 2x4 at a time. You don't want to have multiple people in case someone falls. We want to try to avoid any possible injuries. So one person walks across, and this way you don't jump from 2x4 to 2x4, because that could possibly lead to safety issues. We place another lily pad for you to step onto, and then step onto the next 2x4 that changes direction. So you'll balance beam, walk across all the way like this, step down onto the next lily pad, and you'll continue going all the way until you get to the next base. So once you get to the next base, it's the same thing as the beginning. You're going to want to go to the lily pads. You're going to hop all the way across until you get to this mat. Now, if you notice, this mat is a little bit further from the middle because this is the final part of the obstacle course. So it shouldn't be too easy. This is the very end. You're escaping from Alcatraz. Escaping from Alcatraz is not easy. So what you want to do is you're going to be here, and you're going to want to try to jump as far as you can to land on the other mats. Now this is where the teamwork comes into play. So let's say you have one student that can make the jump. Have them make that jump, and then you have another student that does not make that, can't make that jump because it's too far. If the student who is sitting or standing on this mat is able to reach out and touch this person's hand as they jump across, then that person is safe. So that's where the teamwork comes into play. If the class works together, you can help anybody get it from this last spot over to the main island. So let's go through it again. Class will start on this side. You jump from lily pad to lily pad all the way across till you get to the first base. You have the scooter. A student will sit on the scooter, either attempt to ride across it themselves without touching the floor, or they will ask for their teammates for a little push to get all the way across. Once they're here, they'll push the scooter back because there's only one scooter on each side. So you have to push the scooter back. And if for some reason it gets stuck, someone's gonna have to take the sacrifice and get the scooter and push it back to their team so the team can continue. And then once you're here, you're gonna follow the balance beams to the lily pads, to the balance beams all the way across to this next base. And then you're gonna have the lily pads to the final base. You make that jump. If your teammate's there to help you get across, then you're safe. Now, the interesting thing is there's only 4 mats here. So obviously at some point of the game, with as many students as we're gonna have, it could get slightly crowded on it. Now, obviously we don't want any pushing or anything. So there's gonna be a point in the game where once the teachers and I see that the middle is getting too crowded, we're gonna end the game. No matter how many people are left out on the obstacle course, we're gonna end the game. We're gonna come to the middle and we're gonna count how many people are on the center island. And whichever team has the most players from each side on the center island would win that round, and we'd continue. So I just want to go over one more thing, or another rule, something we just talked about. No matter what, if your foot or anything touches the floor, which is technically the water because they're islands. So if you touch the floor / water, you're out and you have to go all the way back to the beginning. If you're on this first jump and you mess up, you have to restart. If you're on this very last jump and you touch it, if you touch the water, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So that's something that we want to emphasize. So as you can see, there's multiple areas for teamwork. So right here, you can have someone help push you across. And then also at the very end, you can have a teammate help you get across by either reaching out for your hand or helping you jump. So, like I said, this is for both sides of the court. So you're racing against each other almost. You want to be safe, but you want to be careful at the same time, because if you're going too fast on, let's say, the balance beams, then obviously you have potential to step off and step into the water. But if you go slow and steady, that might work out in your favor. So it's really up to you, but you want to remember that you're going against the other side, which teachers and I haven't decided yet. It might be my class versus the other class, or we might just divide you guys up randomly. So that's something to consider. I'm going to go over a few of the movements now to work on it. Like I'm going to go over like hopping with 2 feet onto the lily pads. And then I don't have my scooter with me at the moment, so I'm going to use something else that's a little different. I'm just going to show you how to sit down on it and the basics of that. And then I'll also go over a proper way to walk on a balance beam so you can try to get across it as safe as possible. And again, I will go over one final leap to help you get to the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and hop right into that for you. And yeah, thanks. Okay, class, so first I'm going to show you how to jump from lily pad to lily pad. So I don't have the exact lily pads, but I do have these bases. And this is about the distance that I'm going to have them laid out for on the court. So let's start on this end. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. So you're on the lily pad. So obviously if it's not too far, you might be able to just kind of step across. I'm a little taller, so like obviously this isn't that far of a distance for me. But so I could probably just step across like that and get across. But sometimes it won't be as easy. So let's say it's a little further distance. You're gonna wanna bend your knees. Make sure you load up your legs, bend your knees, and jump across. If your heels touch a little bit, that's fine. The lily pads aren't the biggest, but you wanna make sure that you're able to get fully across. So I'm gonna go back across, bend your knees. Even if you have to swing your arms to help you get a little bit of momentum going, bend your knees, just like that. So you can choose to either step across like that, or load up, swing your arms, and jump across. So you want to make sure that you're under control at all times. You don't want to be just like lollygagging and like jumping around, swinging your arms, because that might have a potential to make you fall. So if you're in control at all times, you're balanced, and you're just taking every precaution to make every jump as good as you can. You're not going to fall. You're going to make through the lily pad part as easily as possible. So let's move on to the next part. All right, class. So next I want to go over how to properly sit down on the little floor scooters. So obviously I don't have my floor scooter with me. I left it at the classroom, and I'm filming this from home. So I'm just going to use this. Obviously the floor scooter it's not this long. It's probably about a quarter of this. So I only use like the front end of it. So we've used these in class before. You don't want to lay down on it by any means, so because then you have potential of getting hurt. So the way we want to do it, you want to be placed on the front end, and you want to be sitting down, and you want to have your hands on the handles. So you'll be like this. This is a little small for me. I'm just a little bigger than you guys, so it's a little difficult. But so you're gonna have your hands here, and so you want to make sure that your hands are always on the handles, so that way your fingers don't get ran over and nobody gets hurt. So another way that you could potentially do it is you could have your knees on it, and you could hold the handles and give yourself a push off the base. I don't think you're going to get as much momentum that way, but you could attempt it. Obviously, like I said, if for some reason you get stuck in the middle of the base to the base, you're going to have to take the fall and go into the water and get your scooter back to your team. But so that's why I feel like it's probably best to have help from a teammate, so you guys can work on your problem solving and your team building. The way that would work. Okay, so my video kind of cut out for a second, had a little bit of issues with recording. So I was about to go into how to properly push your partner on the scooter. So obviously your teammate is sitting on here, hands on the handle. So this thing, it's kind of about the length or the width of the scooters that we have, like this one. So basically, you're gonna want to push from there. You don't want to push your partner because they might not be ready. They might fall off the skateboard, and you don't want to just push them on their back. So you want to push from the scooter that's on the floor. You want to try and touch the ground. If your hands touch it, it might not see it, so you'll be able to stay. But you want to push from here so that way you can get the most out of the push. So I'll show you a little bit how that might look. So pretend I have someone sitting on the end there. I'm kneeling on the base that we have. I'm pushing from this side. So I'll be here, and I'll just give a little push like that. So obviously this one does not have wheels, so it's not rolling as much. The ones we have back at school, those ones have wheels, so you'll have more of you'll see more of a result when you push. So remember, you just want to be safe. Don't push your partner in the back. They might not be ready for it, and you just want to make sure that you push. Make sure your person's sitting there sturdy and ready to be pushed. Make sure you guys are communicating with one another. Okay, class, the next movement that I want to go over is how to properly walk on the balance beams. So I do not have anything that I could walk on that resembles the 2x4s that we have in class. So I'm just going to kind of pretend. So a balance beam, obviously it's a little skinnier, it's a little raised up. So if you tilt, you potentially might step off onto the court, into the water. So the way I like to do it, obviously you can put your arms out to help you with balance, but only one foot is probably going to fit on the balance beam at a time. So you put one out, put your heels to your toe, and you're going to keep going across like this. I'll turn it sideways in a moment, but you're going to keep going across like this. You obviously, if you're feeling a little fast, you can try to go quicker as much as you can, but remember, if you step off, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So let me show you from the side so you can see the heel to toe. So heel to toe, right here, just to help you balance. Arms to the side, just to keep you a little more balanced out, so you're not just like this. It's a little more difficult. But yeah. So obviously, you don't have to put your arms out. You could just simply walk across. But it just helps a little bit going like this. Okay, so the final thing that needs to be done to escape from Alcatraz is making that big leap from your base to the mainland. Or this will be our base. This will be the mainland. I'll go over how to do it in a moment. But as you can see, this jump from the base to the mainland is a little bit longer than the jumps from like the lily pad to the base and stuff like that. So as you can see, I don't have the exact mat, so I have these boogie boards, and they're pushed up against things so they don't move because they're not as stable as the mats. So, but yeah, so this is roughly the distance. It might be a little bit further, but this is about the distance. So you'll be on your base. The mainland is all the way over there. So you have a little bit of room. The mats are a little longer than this, so you have a little bit more room to work with. But basically, it's the same concept. You're gonna want to have your knees bent really good, almost at a 90-degree angle. You're gonna want to swing your arms back and forth to kind of get in a rhythm. And you're gonna go, and you're gonna jump all the way across, just like that. So I'll go back and forth for a minute. Again, knees bent. Get your arms swinging across. You're gonna be here, knees bent, load up, jump, and boom, you're there again. So I went over one thing when I was on the pen and paper that I want to go over right now. So obviously the jump is a little further and not everyone can make the jump. So let's say you have one student that can make the jump. Let's say the student's there. Let's call just the piano. If I touch the piano, this is the other student. So if you guys touch hands or something while you're trying to jump, then the person who makes the jump is safe. Because I know it's a little difficult, so we want to make it so everyone is able to make the jump. So let's say I'm not able to jump as far, but as I jump, I reach out and I touch my teammate, aka the piano. If I'm like this, then I'm safe and I get to go on to the end. So that works if your teammate for some reason reaches out for you and they fall off the mainland, they have to go all the way back to the beginning. So you guys want to make sure that you guys are communicating and talking with one another, so that way everyone can make it to the main base before the other team, and also so no one has to restart, because you have to go through the entire process, the lily pads, the balancing, the scooter push, everything will have to be done over again. So just make sure you guys are communicating. Okay, class, well that concludes on how to perform the activity Escape from Alcatraz. As you can see, there's many different locomotor movements, such as hopping, balancing across, or even riding the scooter, even though that's a little different, but it's just all different movements to get you from one point to another. So another main focus of this activity was problem solving and team building. So problem solving, for instance, the very last leap, you're gonna wanna work with a partner, which is also team building, but you wanna find a way to get one partner from this side to the main base with the other team, or with the rest of your team. So also the scooter, problem solving works there as well. So you have one person on the scooter, the person can either decide to try to push themselves across on their own, or ask a teammate, hey, I might need some help, do you think you can give me a push? So it's just working on these little things to get from point A to point B all the way through to the very end. So overall, this activity is very fun. It's an obstacle course. It gets everybody involved. I don't think the movements are too difficult. You know, it's basically just hopping across. We've taught how to hop since day one, and simply just balancing on the balance beams. So, but yeah, overall, this is one of my favorite activities to do on a rainy day, because we can combine all classes, no matter what lesson they're in or what unit they're in. Let's say Obviously, we're in our soccer unit. Let's say that class is in their basketball unit. This sport or this activity doesn't have to do with either of any of them, so everyone can get included from all classes. It's a rainy day. So everyone is forced into one room because obviously we can't be outside. We don't want to just have everyone sit in the classroom just because it's a physical education class. So this really gets everybody involved, and I think it's pretty competitive. It's not too competitive, but it's a really fun way to have an entire class together in the gym. Thank you.